I knew I messed up the second he bit into my sandwich. It wasn't just any sandwich. It was the sandwich, turkey gouda, a smear of garlic aioli I drove across town for, tucked between thick slices of rosemary sourdough I had to fight a hipster crowd to get. I'd wrapped it, labeled it, even left a passive, aggressive sticky note on the fridge. Do not eat lunch for tomorrow. Seriously, Rob. And still, there he was, on my couch, feet up, watching reruns of Top Gear. Eating my sandwich like he'd paid rent this month, or ever. Dude, I said, staring at the empty wrapper in his lap. Did you not see the note? Rob shrugged. I thought it was a joke. That's the thing about Rob. He always thinks things are jokes, like the time he accidentally dropped my AirPods into his protein shake. Or when he borrowed my car and returned it with a scratch and a story about a rogue shopping cart with a vendetta. And every time my wife, Kayla, would laugh and say, he doesn't mean it, he's just, Rob. But 6 weeks ago, when she asked if her brother could crash with us just for a bit while he figures stuff out, I said yes. Because I love her, because I thought I could handle it, because I didn't know he'd burn my life down from the inside out. The sand, which was just the first spark. The second was the job interview I missed because Rob borrowed my dress shoes. He left a note borrowing these. You've got other pairs, right? Yeah, I had others, scuffed, worn, and absolutely not suitable for a second round interview at a marketing firm I'd been chasing for 3 years. I showed up in sneakers. They thanked me for my time within 10 minutes. When I told Kayla that night, she winced. He should have asked. I'll talk to him. But she didn't, or if she did, nothing changed. Because 2 days later, I came home to find Rob throwing a poker night in our apartment on a Wednesday. What is this? I asked, stepping over a pile of red Solo cups. He grinned, waving a beer at me like a greeting. Bonding night, bro. Want in? I have a deadline in 2 hours. He blinked. That sucks. Anyway, fridge is empty. We ordered wings. You're cool to cover, yeah. I stood there trying to process the sentence. I'm not even eating the wings. He laughed, yeah, but you make like double what I do, or used to, I guess. I'm job hunting. You remember. Kayla came in then, holding 2 beers and pretending not to hear. That night, I told her we needed to set boundaries. She curled up beside me, her voice small. He's trying, babe. He just hasn't had it easy. Neither have I wanted to say, but I didn't, because I knew her history. How Rob was the golden boy turned cautionary tale. How their parents adored him until he flunked out of college, joined a startup that imploded, and somehow ended up in rehab twice before his 30th birthday. He's staying for 2 more weeks, she said. That's all he needs, please. So I nodded, because marriage is about compromise, and I thought again that I could handle it. But then came the night of the phone call. The one that cracked everything open. It was 2:14 a.m. I remember because I'd just finished editing a marketing pitch deck for a client in Tokyo. Kayla was asleep. Rob was supposedly out with friends. My phone rang, unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something in me, some gnawing, anxious instinct, told me to pick up. Hello. A woman's voice, shaky, angry. Is this Rob's brother? I'm his brother-in-law. Who is this? She didn't answer. Not right away. I heard a pause, then a deep breath. He's here, she said, passed out in the bathroom of my bar. He ran up a $300 tab, groped one of my waitresses, and then locked himself in the women's stall and cried about his worthless brother-in-law. My stomach dropped. I don't know who you are, she added, but come get him, or I'm calling the cops. I got there fast. The bar was dingy, pulsing with low lights and bad decisions. A bouncer pointed me to the back. I found Rob exactly where she said, slumped against a pink-tiled wall, snoring, pants half down, muttering about a sandwich and someone named Christina. I dragged him out myself. As I hauled him into the car, he stirred. You don't get it, man, he slurred. Everyone thinks you're so perfect. You with your job, your clean clothes, your wife. He looked at me glassy-eyed. You don't deserve her. I froze, my hands on the wheel, keys halfway to ignition. What did you say? He burped, then laughed. Kayla's too good for you. Always was. You think she's settled, but you don't see it. How she watches me. How she laughs when I make fun of you. My chest tightened. You're drunk? She kissed me once, he said. I turned fast. What? He was smiling now, leaning back like he'd just told me the punchline to a joke I didn't get. Before the wedding, he added, she told me it was a mistake, that it didn't mean anything, that you'd be a good safe choice. He fell asleep 2 seconds later. I didn't sleep that night. Kayla found me at 6 a.m., sitting on the balcony, still in my jeans. Hey, she said, rubbing her eyes. What's wrong? I looked at her, and I asked the question that would break our marriage. Did you kiss your brother before our wedding? Her eyes went wide, her mouth opened, closed, then opened again. You talked to him last night, she said quietly. I picked him up from a bar after he sexually harassed a waitress. She looked away. So it's true, I said. She didn't answer, and in that silence something inside me snapped. I didn't sleep that night. I laid on the couch with the TV on mute, scrolling through old texts, photos, and my mental history of the last year with Sam. I kept asking myself the same question over and over. Why would she need another place at 4:13 a.m.? I typed her address into Google Maps. It was a 28-minute walk from our place, not some far off escape, not even across the city. Practically in the neighborhood. By sunrise, I had made a decision. I wasn't going to confront her, not yet. I needed more than a lease agreement and one blurry glimpse. I needed to understand. The next day, I called in sick. I followed her again. Sam left for work at her usual time, 8:22 a.m. She wore her navy blazer, hair in a bun, carrying her black leather tote, the one she only used when she had client meetings. She took the subway, transferred at the exact spot I saw her the night before, and walked the same route. She entered the same building again, but this time she stayed. I waited 3 hours before moving. Around noon, I walked past the building and looked up. Third floor, a window was cracked open, blinds half drawn. I couldn't see much, just enough to notice the curtains, not ours, definitely not ours. I kept walking. Day 3, I decided to test her. So, how was work? I asked over dinner. I had made salmon, her favorite. She barely looked up. Long. I had back with the Grafton team. They're being difficult again. Oh, I smiled. I thought Grafton moved their base to Chicago last month. She froze mid-bite just for half a second, then shrugged. They're remote now. Time zones make it hell. I nodded slowly, took a sip of wine, and changed the subject. I didn't need her to lie well. I just needed to know she was lying. By day 6, I started losing it, not because I didn't know, but because I still loved her, and I didn't know what to do with that. This woman, this person I had been building a life with, whose laugh I could recognize across a crowded room, was living a second life barely 3 blocks away, and she was so good at it, or maybe I was just too willing to believe her. On day 7, I brought my friend Marcus into it. Marcus is the guy you call when you don't want judgment, just help. He's also a tech consultant and a bit of a digital bloodhound. You want me to do what? He asked, stirring his coffee. Nothing illegal, I said. I just want to know who else lives at that address, that's all. Marcus stared at me for a long time. Is she cheating? I exhaled slowly. I don't know, but something's off. He nodded once. Give me the address. What he found broke me in a way I didn't expect. The apartment was rented in her name. No surprise there, but she wasn't alone. There was a second name on the lease. Lena Marie Chan. It took me 10 minutes of scrolling through old conversations to realize why that name sounded familiar. She was in one of Sam's old photos, a blurry background figure from a ski trip 3 years ago. I remembered asking about her. Sam had said, just a college friend. We don't really talk anymore. Apparently, they did. I stared at that lease screenshot until my phone dimmed and went black. The next day, I followed Sam again. This time I waited outside the building. She didn't come out, but at 6:42 p.m., someone else did, Lena. She looked exactly like I remembered, only sharper. Short hair, dark eyes, confidence in the way she walked. She didn't see me, or if she did, she didn't recognize me. She got into a lift. I tailed it. She got dropped off at a bar downtown, met up with friends, laughed, ordered wine, normal. So normal it made everything feel more insane. What were they doing in that apartment? What secret did it hold that was worth an entire second life? I couldn't ask Lena. I didn't know her, but I could ask Sam. I went home that night with one goal, to set the stage for a conversation she couldn't deflect. I waited until Sunday. We were supposed to go to her parents' place for brunch. On the drive there, I casually asked, "You ever talk to Lena?" Her grip on the steering wheel tightened. "Lena," she said slowly. "Yeah, from college, right? You mentioned her once." "Oh, wow, that's random. No, not really. Why? No reason," I said, watching her profile carefully. "Just saw someone who looked like her at the store." She didn't answer. Not right away. Then she said we weren't that close. That night she came home later than usual, said she had to wrap up reports. But I knew better. I knew because I was already waiting outside the apartment. I had borrowed a friend's car, parked across the street, engine off. She didn't see me. At 9:12 p.m., she entered, alone. This was my chance. I waited 20 minutes, then got out and walked across the street. Buzzed the unit. No answer. Buzzed again. Then a voice, hers. "Hello, it's me." I said, "Silence. Sam, it's me. We need to talk." The buzzer clicked. The door opened. I stepped inside, and everything changed. The elevator creaked as it rose. I watched the red numbers tick up too. 3, 4. Her unit was 3B. My palms were sweating. My heart beat so loudly I was sure she could hear it through the walls. The hallway was quiet. Too quiet. I reached her door and hesitated. Just a second. Enough time to back out, to pretend this never happened. But I didn't. I knocked. She opened it a moment later. She looked different, not startled. "Not scared, just tired. Come in," she said, stepping aside. I walked in and immediately understood everything. And nothing at all. The apartment wasn't what I expected. No romantic candles. No evidence of an affair. No second wardrobe, no second bed, no Lena sipping wine on the couch. Instead it was clinical, white walls, sparse furniture, a desk with a laptop, books, files, scattered notepads. And on one wall, floor-to-ceiling corkboard covered in newspaper clippings, printouts, photos connected by red string. I stared at it, trying to make sense of it. Most of the headlines were old. "Cold case. Where is Megan Holloway? A local journalist disappears without a trace." Family still searching for answers 5 years later. Dozens of them, all about one person, Megan Holloway. Sam closed the door quietly behind me. She was my sister. She said softly. I turned to her. "What?" Sam didn't sit. She just stood there, arms crossed, eyes locked on mine. She was my half-sister, same father. We didn't grow up together. I didn't even know she existed until I was in college. I tried to process. "You never mentioned her, not once." I couldn't, not without explaining everything else. I looked back at the wall. Lena was in one of the photos, younger, smiling, arms wrapped around Megan. She and Lena were best friends, Sam continued. "Roommates, Lena was the last person to see her before she vanished. And you think, what, that Lena had something to do with it?" Sam exhaled. "I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, but she's hiding something. She lied to the police back then, changed her story twice. Megan's case went cold because of it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You've been living a double life, lying to me because of this." "I'm trying to find out what happened to her," she said. "The police gave up. Her mother gave up. But I can't. I won't." I sat down, suddenly dizzy. "So Lena, she knows I'm watching," Sam said. "We've talked, argued. She said she wants to help, but she's hiding something. I needed to be close to her without tipping her off. And the fake job." Sam looked ashamed for the first time. "I got laid off 3 months ago. I didn't tell you because I knew you'd worry, and because I needed an excuse to spend time here. I let the silence hang heavy, unforgiving. You don't trust me. I finally said, I didn't want you involved. That's not the same thing." I stood up and walked to the wall. I saw photos of Megan in different stages of life. Childhood, college. Her smile was bright. Same eyes as Sam. Then something caught my eye, a sticky note next to a news article. April 12th, see if Lena lies again. April 12th was 4 days ago. You've been interviewing her. I asked. Sam nodded. Casually, pretending I want to reconnect. She doesn't know how much I know. Every time we talk, I get a little closer. I turned to her. "You should have told me. I know." She whispered, "But this was mine, my burden. Not anymore." We stayed there for hours, going through files together. I saw versions of Sam I'd never known. Determined, obsessive, brilliant. She'd built a timeline, identified gaps in the story the police had missed. She had names, possible sightings, security footage from nearby businesses archived on USB drives, and Lena was in the center of it all. I think she knows more than she's letting on, Sam said. She was scared the night Megan disappeared. Told the police Megan went to meet someone but couldn't give a name, said she was drunk, but Megan didn't drink. Have you thought about just confronting her? She'd shut down, I need proof. I left that night with a new understanding of the woman I was about to marry. She hadn't betrayed me, not in the way I thought, but she had kept something huge from me, something that could have destroyed us. And maybe still could, because obsession like that, it changes people, and I wasn't sure where the line was anymore between truth and madness, but I knew one thing. I wasn't letting her go through it alone anymore. The next morning, I couldn't look at Lena the same way. She greeted me with a hug and a bright, casual morning, like she hadn't been at the center of a missing person case for the last 5 years. Like she wasn't the reason Sam had built a second life. I couldn't help it. I studied her, every word, every glance. Was it guilt behind her eyes or just the glow of natural charm? Was she hiding something, or had Sam gone too far? That was the thing. I didn't know any more, and the worst part, now I had secrets too. Sam and I agreed to keep everything quiet, at least until she could confront Lena with real evidence, something undeniable. In the meantime, we pretended everything was normal, happy, stable. We hosted a barbecue that weekend. Lena brought wine and potato salad. She laughed with our friends, told stories, smiled easily. Sam stayed cool, controlled, the perfect hostess, but I could see the storm behind her eyes. Then something happened. As Lena stepped inside to grab more drinks, her phone buzzed on the counter. Sam glanced at it. Then froze. I followed her eyes. A message preview from a number labeled no name. It read, "He knows, we need to talk, ASAP." Sam didn't move, didn't blink. I felt my chest tighten. That could mean anything, I whispered. She shook her head slowly. No, that's about Megan. It has to be. Lena returned a moment later, phone in hand. She didn't even look at the screen, just smiled and held up a bottle. Refill. Sam smiled back. The kind of smile you give right before everything falls apart. That night Sam couldn't sleep. She lay in bed staring at the ceiling, lips pressed tight at 213A. "Em," she whispered, "I think someone's helping her." I turned toward her. Helping Lena or protecting her? That number wasn't saved. Burner, probably, but someone's feeding her updates. You think she's watching you. She has to know I'm close and that message. If it's about me, that means we're running out of time. I sat up. So what now? She hesitated. I'm going to follow her. I wanted to argue, to say this was dangerous, that we should go to the police, that it wasn't worth the risk. But I didn't, because I saw the way Sam's hands were trembling. I saw the fire in her eyes, and I knew there was no stopping her. So instead I said, "Then I'm coming with you." The next day, Lena's car pulled out of her driveway around 7:45 p.m. Sam and I were 2 blocks back in a borrowed sedan with tinted windows. We followed her across town, through neighborhoods we didn't recognize. Then she turned onto a narrow, wooded road. My fingers tightened around the steering wheel. "There's nothing out here," Sam whispered. Why would she come out here? Lena drove for another 2 miles before pulling into a long gravel driveway. Barely visible from the road, at the end of it, a cabin, small, remote, no lights on. She parked. Got out, looked around once, then disappeared inside. We waited, 10 minutes, then 20. No one else arrived. Sam checked her phone. No signal. "She's hiding something in there," she said. Then suddenly, headlights. A black SUV pulled up behind Lena's car. The driver didn't get out right away. When he did, I recognized him. Sam did too. "Chief Harrow," she breathed, "the cop who led Megan's case." Chief Harrow stood outside the cabin, scanning the woods like he expected to be watched. Sam and I ducked lower in our seats. He finally knocked twice. Lena opened the door. They didn't speak, just stared at each other for a moment before Lena stepped aside, letting him in. Sam's voice was a whisper. "He was the lead on Megan's case. You think?" I nodded. He covered it up. She opened the car door. I grabbed her wrist. "Sam, think, if Harrow's involved, this goes deeper than we thought. We can't just walk in. I'm not waiting any more," she hissed. But before she could move, the cabin door opened again. Lena stepped out, fast, panicked. She looked around, then bolted toward the trees. Sam was out of the car before I could stop her. She sprinted after her cousin, disappearing into the dark. I ran behind them, crashing through brush and roots, the forest swallowing sound. I caught glimpses of them through the trees. Sam's pale sweatshirt, Lena's long braid whipping in the wind. Then I heard it. Voices raised angry. When I found them, Sam had Lena cornered near a ravine, flashlight shaking in her hand. "You were there that night, weren't you?" Sam shouted. "You lied to everyone, to me. What happened to Megan?" Lena's face was wet with tears. "You don't understand, then make me understand." Lena's voice cracked. "Megan didn't die. She ran, and Harrow helped her disappear. Sam froze. What? She was pregnant with his kid." Lena's breath hitched. "He was married. It would have ruined him." Sam stared at her like she'd just been stabbed. "She told me everything the night she vanished." Lena went on. "She begged me to help. Said she couldn't raise a child in that kind of lie. She needed time, space, safety. And you gave it to her." Sam said numbly, "I didn't have a choice. Harrow came to me the next day. Said if I didn't help him cover it up, he'd make it look like I killed her." I stepped closer. Then what's this place? The cabin? Lena turned to me, eyes bloodshot. "Where I bring supplies, letters, once a year." Sam's voice was barely audible. "She's still alive. She's in Canada. Changed her name. Started over. I helped her cross. Harrow pulled strings at the border. Got her off every database." Sam shook her head slowly, like the ground had shifted under her feet. "All this time, you could have told me." "I couldn't. I was protecting her, protecting you. If Harrow knew I talked, he'd come for both of us." Then we heard the gunshot. Back at the cabin, the front door stood open. Inside, Chief Harrow lay slumped over, a pool of blood blooming beneath him. A revolver lay on the floor. There was a single envelope in his hand, addressed to whom it may concern. We never learned if it was guilt, fear, or the weight of everything finally crashing down. The letter was short. It confessed everything: his affair with Megan, his involvement in her disappearance, the falsified reports, the fake evidence. He claimed she'd begged him for help, and he'd convinced himself he was saving her. The last line read, "I loved her. That was my mistake." Weeks passed. Sam made contact with Megan cautiously through Lena's old drop point. The reunion was quiet, painful, bittersweet. Megan had a daughter now. Sam cried when she met her niece, for the first time. We didn't tell the world, not all of it. Officially, Harrow died under personal circumstances. Megan stayed gone. Safe, she wanted it that way. Sam and I, we're okay. The wedding is postponed for now. Trust takes time, healing even more. But sometimes late at night, Sam whispers, "I'm glad we followed her. So am I." Because now we know, and we're finally free.